What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Just Jay the podcast. This is going to be our season premiere of season 8. I'm super excited. There's so much we have to talk about for this first episode. I have just so much to tell y'all because so much has happened since we last saw each other. So I'm super happy to be back. I know that I was supposed to drop on Halloween, but so much has happened to where I couldn't. And as we get through the episode, y'all will understand more why I didn't originally drop on Halloween like I was supposed to. But I'm excited for season 8. I feel like every season that I put out of Just Jay is a direct representation of exactly what I go through in my life. And whatever I'm going through in that season of my life, it just shows in my show, because I feel like throughout each season, I go through things and then I heal and then I grow and then I come out even better. And then the next season is just me just ready to be better and be more powerful and be more expressive and just do my thing with this whole podcast thing. So I'm happy to have 7 full seasons out. This is going to be season 8, like I said. So I'm happy to have so many episodes, so much material, so much content out there in the world already. So I'm super happy. And I remember I used to say this like early on, like when I was like season 5 in. But I used to say, like, if I was to stop this podcast tomorrow, I already have so much content out and so much of myself out in the world that, like, I fulfilled the dream that I had for this podcast originally, which was just to really be myself and just share my experience and just talk to people and be, a helping hand or a listening ear for people that, may need me. So I'm happy. I'm excited. This episode is going to be super fun. It's going to be super informational. Like I said, I have so much to say. So we're going to get back into it. I was supposed to drop on Halloween. I had to postpone it. Originally, I was supposed to postpone it till the next day because Halloween was on a Thursday. I was really going to postpone the launch to that Friday. But I had came down here. I recorded an episode in my costume and everything. Like, it looked cute. It was cute, but like, it just wasn't my full authenticity. And you guys know me, I'm not putting nothing out that's not fully me or doesn't fully represent what I want to represent each and every time. So, and I was also going through so much. So I was really just trying to put an episode together and get it out for y'all as quickly as possible because that's what I said I was going to do. But essentially, like, life happens and shit went down, and here we are in November, and this is when we're going to launch. But it's totally okay. I feel like whenever something falls through or whenever something doesn't happen as you planned it to, it just means that it's not the right time. And I feel like now is the right time because I can express myself fully and I can talk about certain things fully. And yeah, so on Halloween, I went to the Lotto concert. I told you guys that I was going to be doing that. It was super fun. I went with my homegirl, Ziri. We had a really good time. It was at Barclays Center. It was lit. She brought out A Boogie. She brought out Lil Kim. Like, it was just an overall really, really good show. And I had a good time. And I feel like that was the perfect, like, Halloween plans to have. Because I feel like every year, me and my homegirls are like, damn, what are we going to do for Halloween? And then we're looking for somebody to throw a house party and all that stuff. And, like, me and my homegirl, we were honestly not even going to go to the show because we were like, damn, in New York City, it's probably going to be crazy on Halloween night. But it really wasn't. It was just a bunch of bad bitches coming out in their costumes. Some of us had costumes on, some of us just had on really cute outfits. I had on a really cute black and red outfit. It was so fire. But yeah, like, it was just a bunch of bad bitches outside enjoying the music that they like together, and it was a good time. And I really feel like it was worth it. You guys know I love Halloween, but unfortunately this Halloween I was just super down in the dumps, for reasons that I'll explain later in the episode. But I didn't end up going to any Halloween parties I was supposed to go to because I was just super just in my head and just down, and it just wasn't. This year has been a very trying year for me, and I'm really realizing that as the time goes on, because now we're in December. And whoa, no, we're not in December. We're in November, babe. Slow your ass down. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, now we're in November, and December is going to be in 2 seconds, 2 minutes away. And, the year has just totally flew by, and so much has happened. So I'm just like, I don't know. A lot has happened this year for me, and I'm just like really taking it all in and really just trying to like grasp exactly what I went through this entire year, because in 2025 I really want to come out of this year a totally different person. I really want to come out of this year so much stronger and so much more knowledgeable than what I've been, but So I guess we'll just start with, like, all of the miscellaneous things that have happened between now and then, my last season that, I should catch you up on. Job hunting has been stressful as hell. It's just the job market also right now is really, really hard, and it's not even hard. It's just really, really shitty. And it's like, even for the people with 2 degrees like myself, like, it's just hard. It's a hard time to really know what you want to do and really know, where you should go next. So that's been kind of weighing on me. Elections have been kind of weighing on me, and just my personal life, like, everything has been weighing on me. And I feel like it's just a time where, and also it is getting closer to, the winter time. And this is where everybody's winter blues starts to come out. And this is where everybody starts to see different sides of themselves, or speaking for myself, this is when I start to see the sadder side of myself, because this is when she comes out, around this time of year. So I'm just really trying to stay afloat, and I'm really trying to just change my mindset when it comes to certain things. And, election just happened. Donald Trump was just reelected. Am I happy about that? Absolutely not. But it's come to a point where, and I totally expected to talk about this on a deeper level, but because it's just been so draining for me, that has been something that I just don't even want to talk about anymore. But you guys know I was Harris stan. Like, I was super supportive of her. I thought that she was everything that we needed, and she is everything that we needed. But unfortunately, this re-election of Donald Trump has just shown us that we live in a world that's too racist and too sexist and too just set in their ways to even let a Black woman thrive in a position like that. And it's unfortunate, and it sucks, and it's devastating for other Black girls like myself who looked up to her and are like, who admire her for everything that she's done. She's worked in every branch of government, realistically. And it's just like, for her to be so qualified and so almost overly qualified, and more qualified than Donald Trump per se, like, for that to happen and for that to be the reality of our country and the reality of where we're going as a country, like, it's saddening. It's really disheartening. And, Project 2025 is a thing. Project 2025 is really what they're trying to do. They're really trying to, defund the Board of Education. They're trying to really, take away SSI, Medicare. Like, it's getting scary. And, the fact that, like, I'm somebody that they directly do not like and do not appreciate sucks. Overturning Roe v. Wade and, like, just the lack of control we have over our own reproductive systems is insane. She is the exact representation of Black women like me. And I woke up and I, like, guess, you know what? And I was watching this interview. I forget who it was, but she was like, yo, I woke up that morning that I knew the elections would be announced, and I just felt eerie, and I just felt low, and I just felt sad, and I already knew that we didn't win it. And it's like, I felt the same way, man. I woke up and I was dreading looking at my phone, because I'm like, don't tell me that this man has power yet again. Because it's like, and there was so many, and it was even more hard for me because I was schooling so many people on her facts and her credentials and just who I felt she was as a person. So I was really in it with her. Like, I was campaigning for her around me, like, in my own community. So it was a hard loss for me. And I feel like I'm just disgusted that, America had us feeling like we was going to win this fight. America had us really feeling like we was going to get this done. And the majority of the people that voted for Donald Trump, or a lot of the people that voted for Donald Trump, are Black men, or Latino men, Hispanic men and women. That's crazy to me, because at Donald Trump's rally, his vice president said Puerto Rico was a floating island of garbage. Literally made a joke about a Black man in a crowd, was like, oh, we carved watermelons together. That's not funny. That's not funny. That's not funny. That's not cute. That's not cool. That's not nothing. That's literally teaching people, or teaching the racists that are already in our community or in our face every day now, that they can say whatever the fuck they want. And that's not cool. And I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how we're going to do it for the next 4 years, but my heart goes out to everybody that feels what I feel. My heart goes out to every Black woman in the world right now that really was gunning for her and really, really wanted her to do everything that she said she was going to do. And I seen this interview also which was fucking bullshit. Every day that I've woken up since the election, I wanted to throw my phone in a river. Because it's just like, I seen this video of these black men in Atlanta at some fucking barbershop. And he was like, yeah, I voted for Donald Trump because Kamala, she didn't really stand on nothing. Like, she didn't really have no policies that she stood on. Donald Trump stood on stuff. Baby, he stood on taking your rights away. He stood on taking away African-American studies in schools. He stood on taking away the Board of Education. Where your little sister, she didn't really stand on nothing. Like, she didn't really have no policies that she stood on. Donald Trump stood on stuff. Baby, he stood on taking your rights away. He stood on taking away African-American studies in schools. He stood on taking away the Board of Education. Where your little sister and your cousins and your brothers and your nephews go to school at. Be for real. But that's what I'm saying. Like, knowing the facts and knowing what the fuck is going on in the world. Like, the fact that people are voting for him solely because, oh, we're going to get lower grocery prices. Oh, we're going to get lower gas prices. No, the fuck we're not. And it's like the whole economy argument. Back and forth. Because everybody thinks that when Donald Trump was in office, the economy was the best because of him. No, babe. We were operating off of Barack Obama's economy. I just hate that he tried to take credit for things that he did not do, because these policies and these things that these presidents try to do, we don't really see the full effect of them until after they're already out of office. And I'm sorry, I always said that I didn't want this to be a political podcast. I didn't even want the topic of politics coming on the show. But being that I'm the new generation of adults, well, not even in air quotes, because I am, being that I'm the new generation of adults, and this shit is important to me, because I'm planning to have babies in this country. I'm planning to raise young black women and young black kings. Like, come on, bro. Like, this is important. This is my history. This is my lifestyle. This is me. So, like, it's super important to me at this point. And I feel like, because what I'm also not going to do is, and I seen this argument a lot too when it came down to election days coming down, or counting down to election days, where it was like, oh, don't let your political views ruin your relationships. I'm so sorry, but it's black and white. Okay? I was a diehard Kamala supporter. That was the route that I was taking, and I made that known to everybody, even y'all. So what I'm not gonna do is, we can agree to disagree on the color of the sky. I might say I like this jacket. You might say it's not my favorite. That's cool. We can agree to disagree on that, because this is my jacket, not yours. It don't matter. But what we're not gonna agree to disagree on are my rights as a woman, my rights as a black woman. That's where we can't argue about Nathan, because I don't hear you, because you don't get it, because you're not me. So I don't buy that, oh, we can still be friends if I voted for Donald Trump. No, the fuck we can't. No, the fuck we can't. Okay, and I'm making that vividly clear. That's just my stance, and that's how it's going to be. Because when it comes to a woman who said, a man who talks about grabbing bitches by the pussy, or who was on Epstein Island raping young girls, convicted of what, 34 what was it, 34 or 37, whatever, 34 counts of fucking, like, what, 34 criminal charges, and now because he was reelected, the Supreme Court is going to wipe away all of that because presidents have immunity. That's nah, bro. Because they always say that you're supposed to vote based on your lifestyle, based on your life. What's going to work for you? What would you like to see in your environment? That was a huge moment in history, because it really showed everybody that looks like me, we're not welcome here. We're not loved here. We're not appreciated here. Our own people are going against us. So yeah, I was sad the whole week after elections, because I'm just like, damn. I also saw this other video where it was like, it's okay for us to express our sadness about this decision. Like, that's okay, because they're not trying to wipe away your history, babe. That's why you don't get it. So that's just how I feel. And like, outside of that, like, I just feel like this is just such a trying time in my life, because I'm shedding so many things in my life because I'm trying to find peace. And I find myself praying often for like the people and the things that are not supposed to be around me to be removed. And like, once you put that prayer out in the universe, oh, you gonna have the craziest Rico sweep of your life. Everybody that you had suspicions about, or that you thought might not have their best intentions at heart, they're gone, because you was right. You was right all along. And I feel like sometimes this is something that I've had to learn also. Sometimes people's behavior is the closure. Because I feel like sometimes I always feel like, okay, well, let me express myself. Let me tell them where they had me fucked up at, or let me express myself on where I feel like they went wrong. Sometimes we don't even need to do that because the behavior that they're showing you is the closure. Because I have a situation right now where I've expressed myself over and over and over again to a family member of mine, and I feel like it's just like, I don't feel like they give a fuck. I'm gonna be real. And like, whether they do or they don't, it's not my problem. But their behavior, the repetitive issues that come up is their behavior. Somebody does something to you once, okay, it could be an accident, it could be a mistake. We could work on it, we could grow, we could develop, better relationship habits. But if somebody does something to you 2-3 times, that's their behavior. That's their character. That is enough closure for me to walk the fuck away forever. And that's something that I really, really have to grasp, because I've been holding on to people and holding on to relationships that don't even need to be here. Because when I love somebody, I love hard. So when I introduce you into my life and I bring you in, I love you and I idolize you. And I put you on a pedestal that you probably don't even deserve to be on. And when you put somebody on a pedestal and then you looking up at them and you realize, damn, they probably don't even deserve to be there. The thought and the act of bringing them back down and removing them from your hierarchy of your people and putting them on level playing field, that shit hurts. That shit sucks. That shit really makes you feel like, damn, like, is it me? Am I the problem? And I feel like that's another thing that people are doing in my life too, where it's like I'm always gaslit to feel like I'm the problem. When it's like, no, I'm just standing on my boundaries. No, I'm just expressing myself. I'm not overly sensitive. You just don't really know how to handle emotions. I'm not dramatic. You just don't know how to handle this vast of an emotion. And that's it. Like, I'm just super emotional. I'm super out there when it comes to how I feel. And that's not something that I'm going to change because you feel like you can't handle it. Don't project your feelings onto me. I'm not emotional. I'm not sensitive. I'm not dramatic. I'm none of those things. But I'm also not going to take your fucking bullshit. So, hey, whatever. But, and also, if I cut you, this is a meme that I seen that I was just like, ooh, that's so spot on. If I cut you off for something simple that you may feel is simple, quote unquote simple, sometimes it's not even about what you did. It's about how tired I am of you. And that shit is so real for me because it's like, again, back to the family member that I just had a falling out with. Like, I'm tired of telling you I don't like that. I'm tired of telling you that's not how I show up for you, so don't show up for me like that. I'm tired of telling you that's not how I want to be loved. Because you go around and you say that you love me, because it's another thing that people do when they fucking fall out with me. I'm always going to love her. So no matter how she feels or not, I'm always going to love her. No, don't express the love that you have for me, because I don't feel that. And also, I may not feel that, and that's not how I want to be loved. And I feel like that's another conversation that we need to have with people that we meet or want to be around for a long time. How do you want to be loved? Am I doing it right? And if I'm not, teach me. But if I'm telling you that that's not how I don't feel that love from you. I don't feel loved like that. That's not how I operate. I don't like that. And you're blatantly ignoring it, and you're not trying to change nothing. You're trying to paint me out to be the problem. You can go. Because where I'm supposed to go, you can't go anyway. So that's why we're having this interaction. Because where I'm destined to go, you can't go with me. So it's like, like, it's my life right now. Like, lately has just been a lot of like giving and letting go, and just like letting life go where the fuck it's gonna go, because I can't hold on to people no more. And I feel like I was doing that for a long time. And it was a point where I was just quiet about everything. Like, I had so many issues and so many people that I wanted to just tell that, like, I don't like that you did that. I don't like that you do that to me. I don't like that you treat me like that. I don't like that situation, because if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't have did that to you. And I was holding everything in, and I was just like, nah, I got to release all of this. I got to get all of this out. I've had enough with like the people pleasing and just trying to compromise how I feel or my morals for other people. Like, no, I'm not doing that no more. On October 11th, I had a psychic reading, because you guys know I love, I have a really, really dope psychic / medium that I go to that's really, really in tune with my life and in tune with me. And I'll tell you guys 2 things from the reading, because it was super long reading, and I'm not going to get into all of it because we'll be here forever. But one of the things that she said to me that really stuck out to me was about Bane. And he was like, I'm so sorry that that happened, that you found me like that I passed away like that. And it's like, you don't realize how much you probably need to hear an apology until you get one. And don't get me wrong, like, it was a dog, so I never expected him to be sorry or apologize for that. That was not even something that I was thinking about. But when she came through and she said it to me, and she was like, you know, that's something that he's been meaning to say to you for a while, it broke me, because it was just like, damn, I didn't even know that he was aware of that. I didn't even know that he was aware of how it affected me. I didn't even know that I knew that he knew that I was upset by it. I knew that he knew that I was, distraught by it. But I didn't even know that he was aware enough spiritually to give me the apology that he thought that I needed a long time ago. You know what I mean? And I'm also reading this book right now. It's called Signs. And it's about, just developing your communication with those who have passed on. And there's this, in the book, they talk a lot about teams of light. It's called Teams of Light. Teams of light make up your guardian angels, people that have passed on before you, or, certain people that have passed on that may not have even known you, but they're assigned to help you get to your greater life path, or just the universe. Your team of light is consistent of all of those people, and your team of light was created before you were even created. So as you go through life and people pass on and people, unfortunately pass away, that those people were drafted to your team of light before you even knew about their death. You know what I mean? So when I think of it like that, the afterlife is so beautiful, because in the book, it also talks about, there's the author lost her father a couple years ago. And she was like, you know what? My father was never really a good communicator in life, and we never really had that great of a relationship while he was alive. But in the spirit realm, he's gotten amazing at communicating. In the spirit realm, our relationship has blossomed and improved so beautifully. And I feel like I'm a spiritual being, like, in general. So when I started reading the book, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it just opened my eyes to so many different things. And it ties me back to my psychic reading, because a second thing that she said to me was, my great grandmother was in the room. And I have two great grandmothers on both sides that are passed on. So when she said it, I was only focused on my mom's side. But after I got home, and like days after, I started thinking about my other great grandma on my father's side. And I was like, wow, it very well could have been her as well. But she was like, your great grandmother thinks you are a warrior. She thinks that you have developed an amazing life for yourself, and you're a survivor, and you are supposed to be doing everything that you're doing. And she also said that when I was in my past life, I lived in New Orleans, and I was very knowledgeable about root work. I know, when everybody says voodoo, you think like, oh, negative things. I was knowledgeable about hoodoo, which is the positive side of it. And when she said that to me, I was like, I knew something in my body was spiritually inclined that was different. Because there's certain things that I can and can't talk about with certain people, because it's just like, are you tapped into your spiritual side, or are you just surface level spiritual? You know what I mean? So like, when she said that to me, I was like, I knew that I was different. I knew that I felt different things. I knew that when people passed on, I always, yes, it's a negative thing when people die. Death is just so horrible, and grief and all that shit is just so sad. But I always knew that I was always connected to the other side in a different way. So when I started reading the book, and then I had the psychic reading like weeks before I started reading the book. But when I started reading the book, it started connecting certain dots for me that she said during my reading. And I was just like, huh, interesting. I will talk more about the book after I'm finished with it. I'm halfway through it. I'm really, I've been also in tune with like reading. Like I have built an amazing library for myself since the last time you saw me, baby. Don't even worry. Like I think I was into self-help books and all that stuff when I was younger. So like as I got older, my love for reading kind of just disintegrated a little bit. But once I transitioned from the self-help books, you're gonna self-help yourself to death if that's the way that you're trying to read, or if that's the style of reading that you like to read. I'm just not on that no more. I love a good self-help book, because the book that I'm reading, Signs, is kind of like a self-help book, but it's also just a story. Like it has many stories involved in it that, like, I've been reading romance. I've been reading thrillers, babe. I'm so into it. Like I'm so into my reading journey right now because it's like to have to have a way to escape your reality and go into somebody else's and roam that world and roam that environment. It's amazing. It just does something for my mind. And it's like if I'm going through something and I just finished a good book, I'm gonna hop into another one. I'm like, okay, where else can I travel to, get my shit together or get myself back to wanting to be in my own reality. So I'm reading is so fundamental, and it has really changed a lot for me because it's all I want to do, because I know that not only is it helping my mind and it's expanding my vocabulary, but it's also like just helping me be more creative and be more imaginative when it comes to certain things. So I'm just I'm trying to get back to the things that I used to love, because I feel like I lost, my therapy journey kind of slacked a little bit. My podcast journey kind of slacked a little bit. My reading journey slacked a little bit. So I'm trying to get back into the things that I really, really love. And, the psychic reading was my first step, because I was like, what am I going to do that is going to provide me the most self-care in a way? And I went to my psychic reading was like at 2 o'clock, and I had a therapy appointment at like 4:30. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get some answers from the universe, and then I'm gonna go to my therapist and lay it on her, all on her, and we're gonna work it out and we're gonna figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. And I feel like when you getting back into therapy, I was super anxious because I feel like I had so much anticipation for the first appointment to be so like hard, because it was just like the first appointment back is just you explaining everything that's happened since you last saw them, realistically. So, and there was so many things that I was just like not really ready to talk about. And there are certain things where you're like, damn, am I comfortable enough to tell my therapist this? Am I comfortable enough, or not even that? Am I ready to take accountability for the part I played in that and explain this to my therapist? You know what I mean? So it was a lot of that for me. It was a lot of back and forth, like, damn, am I ready to take accountability for this? And I got in that chair and I took accountability, and I surprised myself. And I talked about everything that had happened to me since I last saw her, and it was everything that my soul needed. Because even at the end of the session, I was like, yo, I was so anxious. Like, I just didn't know how it was going to go. And her response to me, and this is why she's my therapist, because she's just great. But her response to me was, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to make you feel anxious. I'm not here to make you feel nervous to tell me things. I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So, and I also am here to make you feel better at the end of the day. So if you don't want to share things, you don't have to share certain things, but I'm not here to make you feel anxious or nervous. And that kind of changed the trajectory of it for me. Of course, I haven't seen her since. That was on October 11th, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back probably next week, because next week is my cousin Scooter. On the 19th of November, it's his 8-year death anniversary. And on the 20th of on the 20th of November is Khalid, my cousin that I always talk about on this show. Literally the reason that all of this has happened. It's his 6-year death anniversary on the 20th. So I'm going to need some guidance. I'm going to need, I'm just going to need to just talk, because it's just going to be an emotional week for me, because it always is. And then of course, Thanksgiving is the following week after that. So it's just, I feel like another reason that I really was excited to get back into therapy, because I wasn't really healing. I was more so surviving, and I was just keeping it moving. I was just keep it going. Kind of like Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Like I was just swimming, and I was just going. I wasn't handling nothing. I wasn't healing from nothing. I wasn't processing nothing. So now that I'm, months out, I'm just like, damn, a lot happened to me in the last 6 months of the year. And I need to really process that. I need to really take all of that shit in and really digest everything that's happened. And I feel like therapy will allow me the healing and the expression to deal with the things that I want to deal with. So, it's I'm learning a lot. And I'm learning that, sometimes it's okay to take your breaks from therapy, because I do it a lot. I do it often, especially if I'm going through something that I feel like I really need to process first to express it. I do that often. So, but the getting back into it is what makes you realize, okay, this is worth it. This is why I do this, because it's just a totally different journey than you trying to heal by yourself. Because you can heal by yourself, but I feel like that extra push from your therapist is really gonna help you in the long run. I missed this year's annual suicide walk. You guys know I never miss it. I've gone 5 years in a row, and on the sixth year, I missed it. But I'm gonna tell you why. On October 12th, this is also gonna tie into why our new season had to be postponed, because this is gonna explain everything. But on October 12th, my grandma was hit by a car coming back from the store. She was hit by a car and they left her there. My grandma was 66 when she passed, because she did pass. She was hit by a car October 12th. They left her there. She hit her head in the front and in the back. She was in the hospital for weeks, like just going in and out of like, she's doing good, she's declining, she's doing good, she's declining. Like it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And for like 3 weeks, she fought her hardest. And you know, she had all of us there with her. We all made sure. My dad went there every day, probably 2-3 times a day. And I spent a lot of time with her in the hospital. I really did. And it's so crazy because, and this is just another example of how like the universe really works and how small the world is. My homegirl Jada, she works at the hospital at the front desk. So when my dad had got the news that she had got hit or whatever, nobody knew where she was because they brought her in as a Jane Doe because she came in unconscious. My homegirl was like, okay, as soon as she seen my dad, she said, okay, give me all the information. She went in the information, went in the Jane Doe list, found my grandma. She's like, okay, here, this is the name that they have her under. Make sure they change it for her, do all that stuff. My homegirl held me down. Me and my entire family. She held us down. Like, Jada, if you watch this, I love you. Like, I owe you the world 100%, 110%, because whenever shit hits the fan, like, my homegirls are going to make sure that they do their big one, and they're going to make sure that they get me right. And if they can help the rest of my family while doing it, they're going to do it. And Jada shows up and shows out every time. So, you know, and I feel like a part of this process also, because obviously we go on to visit her every day at the hospital. Like, it's draining, it's sad. So like, but walking into the hospital and seeing your homegirl sitting at the front desk, like that kind of lifts you up a little bit, you know, especially for my dad, because Jada's in my house all the time. Like, my dad loves Jada. Like, they have their own relationship. So him going to the hospital every day by himself and like seeing Jada at the front desk, like that, it gives you a little bit of hope. It gives you a little bit of positivity, seeing a face that you're familiar with, you know? So I owe her 6 Birkin bags. No funny shit, because like, I don't know if the roles were reversed, if I could have handled that, you know, seeing my friend and her family going through something so sad. So long story short, October 30th, my grandma did pass away. The day before Halloween. So obviously, like, I wasn't thinking about no season 8. I wasn't trying to launch nothing. Like, I just couldn't do it. And also, I didn't feel comfortable doing it either, because it was just like, how am my grandma going to pass away the day before I'm supposed to launch, and I'm going to launch anyway? Like, I just didn't feel comfortable with it. I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know how to express myself for real, because I didn't know what was going to happen to her. Like, it was just hard. So I think that me taking a step back and being like, nah, I'm not even going to drop this week. I'll drop when I'm ready to drop. I think that was a better approach to it, because it gave me time to really process and heal, and, you know, heal a little bit, because I'm still really fucked up about my grandma. But because, you know, like, a grandmother's love is something that you will never receive again in your life. And I'm thankful that I do have one more left. Like, thank God. I'm going to hold on to her forever. But, and it just sucks because my grandma was taken away from us way earlier than she really would have been. You know, my grandma was that girl. She was 66, but she was active. Like, she was walking to the store. She was doing everything. She was popping her shit. That's where I get it from. Popping her shit unapologetically herself. Like, my grandma was that girl. My grandma wasn't going out without a fight. She wasn't going out like that. And her being hit by a car 100% ruined her life, and 100% took her away from us way too soon. Because I know my grandma, okay? She was 66, but I probably could have got another 30 years out of her. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna hold you. That's just how strong-willed and just powerful she was. So for all of this to happen so suddenly in a way, and it sucks, and it hurts, because it's like I'm watching my father grieve his mother, and I don't know that feeling. I don't know the right words to support somebody in that time, because you only have one mom. I lost my grandma, yes. So obviously still detrimental and still hard, but I don't know the feeling of losing your mom. I don't, especially not like that. So it's just times where I'm looking at him and I'm like, damn, like, you are so strong and you don't even know that you're strong because you don't feel strong, but you are. And it's hurt my family bad. It's really hurt my family, but we're also super at peace with it because we got to spend the time with her on her last day on earth. We made sure she was loved, especially me. And I'll never forget it. Like, we were all sitting around her hospital bed. Please don't cry. I hope I don't cry. But we were all sitting around her hospital bed, and we all going, standing next to her one by one, just saying how we feel about her. And I remember I'm sitting next to her, and I was like, Grandma, you were amazing. You were the best grandma I could have ever had. Like, that woman loved me down. Like, that woman gave me a type of love that I will never forget, And she always made me know that she was proud of me. She always let me know that I was doing everything that I could have been to be great. Like, she instilled a different kind of power and a different kind of self-love in myself. So, I was talking to her and I was like, you were the best grandma ever. Like, I love you so much. Like, there's nothing more I could ask of you. Like, you did everything right. And shit, I'm about to cry. But when I said that, like, because at that point, my grandma wasn't even breathing on her own. So when I said that, nor was she talking, nor was she really communicating or anything. But when I said that, a single tear fell from her eye. And that broke me because I knew that my grandma was still in there, A single tear fell from her eye. And then she opened her eyes and she looked right at me. And then she just closed her eyes. And I was just like, wow. Like, that's a moment that I'll never forget ever. But that's also a moment where I'm like, because I feel like sometimes death happens or we lose people in our lives and it's so unexpected. And then we're always left with like, damn, I wish I could have said this. I wish I could have done this. And, I'm still left with the guilt. Like, damn, there were so many times where I drove past her block and I was like, I should go see my grandma. I should go visit my grandma. I'll do it this week. I'll do it next week. I'll do it tomorrow. And now I have no more time, So I'm still left with that grief. But there was nothing left unsaid between me and my grandma because I made sure I told her how I felt when I saw her. So the grieving process is different because I don't have anything left that I wish I could have said to her or that I wish I could have did with her. Because I know that she loved me. I knew that I'm her only granddaughter. Like, I knew that I super exceeded her expectations of me. So there was no hard feelings, Not even there was no hard feelings, but there was nothing that I felt like I still needed, And I wanted her to go peacefully because watching her be in pain and go through all that bullshit, like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it anymore. And I was just like, and I know the rest of my family couldn't either, which is why the decision was made. But I love my grandma, and I know she know that I love her, and I know she's still here with me, and I know she's with her parents in heaven, with her brother in heaven, with her friends. Like, she's living her life and she's good. So I'm cool. And I was excited for Halloween to launch, but I couldn't do that with my grandma. I couldn't do that with my grandma just being passed. Like, I couldn't do it. And I spoke at her funeral. I actually did my big one at her funeral, if I'm being honest, because when the pastor was like, if there's anybody that wants to come up and do their reflections, I wanted to go last. I wanted to be the last person to say their reflection because I was going to play my grandma a voicemail of my grandma's afterwards. And I wanted everybody I wanted to leave a lasting impression on everybody. And then I also had to read the obituary later on in the service. So I was like, I want to be the last person to do reflections. Let everybody, get their shit out. I'll be the last person, and then I'll get back up and I'll do the obituary. Everybody was so hurt that they just couldn't speak. So nobody volunteered. It was me and my other cousin who said a little bit, and then, whatever. So I was first, and I said my speech, and my speech was directly tailored to my father. Like, it was just about, I was like, my grandma gave me so many things. She gave me so much joy. She gave me so much love. She gave me so much happiness. But she also gave me my dad. And she also gave me my uncle. And they're so strong. Like, I wanted, my speech was for them to know that they were strong. and that I saw them, and that she's okay, and that I know she's proud of y'all because y'all are literally a direct representation of her. And at the end of it, I played. First, I started it off by saying, the first sentence I wrote was, my dad always told me that I could write a grown man to tears. Because my dad always said that to me. Like, I would write my dad stuff when we would argue when I was younger, and he would always cry. And he was like, yo, you have a way with your words that could make a grown man just cry. So I started it with that, and then I went into, like, I said all my stuff that I had to say about her and about me and about my time with her, whatever. And at the end of it, I said, to my family, like, we're so much stronger together. And I said, lastly, I want to give you guys a piece of my grandma that I got. And then at the very last sentence, I was like, and if you haven't cried yet, you've underestimated me. And then I played the voicemail, and then everybody was crying. And then also, like, the voicemail that I played, it was actually funny. Like, it showed my grandma's personality because it was a birthday message that she sent to me. I'll put it in the episode so y'all can listen to it. So I love y'all, but I will put the clip into it so that y'all can hear and get the full effect. And so y'all can get a little bit of my grandma because she's dope and she was really sweet and really, really amazing.
Happy birthday, Jayla. Sweet grandma, I love you and I hope you have a safe day. I would sing happy birthday for you, but my phone is already broke. Okay, stay safe. Love you guys. Happy birthday.
But in the voicemail, she's like, happy birthday. Like, I would sing you happy birthday, but my phone is already broken. And when she said that, everybody in the church started laughing. And I was like, see, this is what I was meant to do. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to make them cry a little bit, but I also wanted to make them feel something. I wanted them to feel her in the room. And I totally did it. And then I sat down or whatever. My cousin came up, she spoke, she said her thing, and then I had to get back up to read the obituary. So now I had already had it in my spirit that I had to be the one to lighten the mood. So when I walked back up to read the obituary, I was like, I'm back. And everybody started laughing again. And I was like, I got him. I did it. This is how my grandma would want me to do it. Read the obituary perfectly. Not a flaw in sight. At this point, I'm an obituary reader. Hello, if you need me, call me. I'll read your obituary. Because I read 2 at this point. But it was good. It was really good. I saw so many people that I hadn't seen in so long. I saw her old superintendent from the apartment building she used to live in. And actually, it was the apartment building that I lived in first when I was younger. And then she moved in. And then my aunts moved in. And then we moved out. So I seen him. Seeing him made me, like, I was so emotional. And he was like, yo, you still look the same. Like, it was just so beautiful. I seen him. I seen the old maintenance man in her apartment building. I seen my old best friend from, like, elementary school. Her dad pulled up, like, and he lived in the apartment building next to my grandma. Like, I seen so many people, like, that I haven't seen in a long time. And everybody was like, yo, your speech was really good. Your speech was really good. Like, it was really, really good. Like, I couldn't have said it any better. And when I got that validation from everybody else, like, I knew that I made my grandma proud. And that's really all I wanted to do, because at the end of the day, it was really, obviously it was all about her, but I just wanted her to know. I wanted her to know that your granddaughter fucks with you hard. Like, and she gonna turn up at your funeral and say her speech and have everybody laughing, have everybody crying, but she gonna do it for you. And I totally think, like, if my grandma was in the audience, which I know she probably was, she was probably watching us all cry and be like, what the fuck are y'all crying about? Like, I'm okay, like, get over it. But I know that if my grandma was in that audience, she would have probably stood up and just clapped for me and been like, that is how you do it. And it's so funny because I woke up that day, and that was when the election decision was announced. So I woke up that day and I was like, how the fuck am I gonna go give this speech knowing what I know, knowing what's going on in the world now, knowing what's about to happen? And I was just like, and mind you, oh my God, this is the biggest part. I was planning to wear this all orange outfit because that was my favorite. That's my favorite color, obviously. Didn't come in time. So I had to wear this really cute black outfit. It's fine. I hate wearing black to funerals though, because I feel like it's just so cliche. And I feel like when you have somebody walk into a funeral and they're wearing like a bright color, or they're wearing a pop of color, it kind of lightens the mood, because it's like, oh, thank you. Somebody, you know what I mean? And I wanted to be that, like that ray of sunshine a little bit, even though I already was, because it didn't matter what I wore. It just mattered what I said. But her funeral was beautiful. Like, it really, really was. It really, really was. There was so many people. And it was just amazing. And I think it's even what's even more amazing to me is that my dad is a graphic designer. So he works with a lot of different people around Long Island, making shirts for them, whatever. And he said that he went to go drop something off at one of his clients' house or whatever. And his client was like, I'm so sorry about your mom. My dad had never said anything to this person because it's not something that he, like, talks to daily. So he was like, how did you know that? And the man was like, this is going to sound so weird, but I listened to your daughter's podcast. Like, I've been listening to it for years. And she was supposed to drop, and she said that she couldn't because her grandma passed away. And I just wanted to tell you, I'm sorry. If I do nothing else in this life, I know that I have touched a few lives with this show. And that alone is enough to empower me for life. Because when I first made this show, I didn't really do it anticipating, oh, I'm going to get all these followers, I'm going to get all these people watching me, I'm going to have all these people, tuned into my show. I wasn't thinking about anybody else when I made it. It was solely for me. So now that it's become something so grand that people actually have been watching for years and have actually been tuned into, it has blown me away. And when my dad said that to me, I literally cried because I was like, wow, that is so amazing. That is so beautiful to me. Whoever you are, I don't know who it is, but whoever you are, like, thank you. Like, and I'm so appreciative of your interest in me and what I have to say. But I just thought that was so cool. And my dad even was like, yo, honestly, like, I knew that your podcast was, I knew it had some traction. I knew it was everything that you wanted it to be, but I didn't know how intertwined a lot of people are really. So it's just it was a great moment. It was a very touching moment. I was supposed to go to tonight's conversation, that podcast that you guys have probably seen all over. I was supposed to go there. It was such a stressful day. It was such a bad day. Like, I woke up and I was like, today's going to be a bad one. And you know what? Like, because I have had so many bad days per se, or so many low days, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna allow that thought to fester and become anything bigger. So I got up and I put a nice dress on, nice outfit. I looked cute. I did my makeup, whatever. And no matter what I did, like, the day just was horrible. We were supposed to go to Manhattan to watch the show. Traffic to Manhattan, from Manhattan to my house, no, from my house to Manhattan is probably like an hour on a good time. A good time. I left probably, show started at 3. I left my house at 1 o'clock. I left at 1 o'clock. That's 2 hours before the show. I didn't get close to the venue until about 3:30. 3:15, actually, 3:15. And as I'm pulling onto, like, turning into making a left turn onto, like, the main strip of where the venue is, like, at, I'm in the left turning lane, turning left. There's a car next to me in the right turning lane, turning left. I'm turning. She cuts her turn a little too short and hits me. Like, I'm so sorry, but that shit was my 13th reason. Like, do you understand how devastating it is to actually force yourself to get out of bed? Force yourself to put on a cute outfit, put your makeup on, get it together, fix your attitude, cleanse yourself, get it, we're going to do this one. We're going to get it together. We're going to have a good day. And then everything put in your way fucks it up. And you're like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. The traffic's not going to stop me. I don't give a fuck how late I am. That's what I literally said. I was like, I don't care how late I am. I'm going to go. I'm going to make sure that I'm there. And I get hit. I turned around. And it's so funny because the girl that hit me, was going to the same show. So I never even went to the show. I said, fuck that. That was my 13th reason. I turned my ass around and I went back home because I was through. Actually, no, I went to get tacos and I went to a bookstore because I was just like, I knew that I had taken 2.5 hours to get out there. And at this point, it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Do you understand how long I would have been sitting in traffic to get back home? Probably 3 hours. So I said, no, I'm gonna make this a little worthwhile. I've done a lot. I've gone through a lot to get here. So I went to the taco place that I love, and I went to a bookstore that I really, really enjoyed because I was like, wow, I love this bookstore. It was amazing. Highly recommend. But yeah. So that happened, and that happened like 4 days after my grandma's funeral. So if you really think about it, like, I was I was super through. I was super fed up with life, but it's fine. Like, it's material things. Like, my car is okay. Like, it's drivable. Like, it just looks a little ugly, but it's fine. It's cool. And to the lady that hit me, you're gonna get your karma. Don't you wait. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Kisses, babe. The last little topic to talk about to close off the show. I was watching the Poor Minds podcast that I love. You guys know I love that show. And I was watching their episode with Cash Doll. I loved Cash Doll already, and I loved Lex and Drea already, but I loved them even more off of that episode. I don't know. It gave girls. It gave like no, like, let's really talk about it. Like, it was really, really moving, and it was really, really good. And I wanted to talk about like a topic that they spoke on the episode, where it was like moving on gracefully versus crashing out. And Cash Doll was like, she basically was like, I support both ways. But sometimes when you move gracefully, people take advantage of that because they're like, oh, okay, well, whatever. She bowed out gracefully. Let me move on to the next victim. You know what I mean? And I feel like, and she also said, when you crash out about something, like, I support that because that's how you felt in that moment. You felt like that. That's what you wanted to do in that moment, and you did it. Cool. That's how you felt. Stand on that and move on from it. But now, with a sound mind, how would you move on from it? You feel me? Like, what would you do now differently after you've crashed out? Because after you crash out, you always have that moment of clarity where you're like, damn, did I just do that? Like, did I have to take it that far? Damn. Did I have to do, And when I was watching the episode, I was like, because I have crashed out probably twice in the past month. And actually, I'm not even going to say crashed out, because I've crashed out like traumatically before. When I say crashed out now, I mean like letting someone take me out of my graceful character and forcing me to let them fucking have it. That's what I mean when I'm saying I'm crashed out. Because I agree, people do take advantage of you when you're graceful and when you don't say nothing. And I feel like there's a lot of times where I feel like I have to be graceful. I have to be quiet about certain things. And I feel like also as a woman in society today, we are conditioned to believe like you got to be graceful. You got to be calm. You can't show too much aggression. You can't get angry about certain things. You can't say too much. I'm here to let you know, like, there's nothing wrong with being a graceful queen. We love a graceful queen. She's strong as fuck. She's about her shit. I love that. But there's also nothing wrong with letting a motherfucker know where they have you fucked up at. There's also nothing wrong with letting somebody know that you're angry about something and they shouldn't have fucking played with you. There's nothing wrong with expressing your anger either. Like, if I'm upset, I'm upset. And I'm going to tell you that I'm upset because it's not doing me any good holding all of this shit in when you're the one that fucked me over. There's also people that they know that they do you wrong, but they're also not going to step up to be better, nor are they going to leave you alone because they know that you're a great person and that you have all these things that they could benefit from. Like, I haven't even met all of the people that are going to love me in this lifetime. I haven't even met all of the people that are going to experience me in this lifetime. So it's like, am I really going to be upset about losing a friendship or a relationship with you when you haven't treated me with respect or love anyway? I'm going to cry about it. I'm going to heal from it. And I'm going to move on. And I'm going to embrace all of the other positive, beautiful people that are actually going to show up for me and that are actually going to love me in my life. Just because you couldn't handle the heat, baby, and now you got to get out the kitchen, that's not on me. So I'm like Cash Doll. I'm with her. I support her crash out. If you feel like, and this is another thing she said in the episode, like, crashing out sometimes is not really about anybody else. It's really about you letting them know where you had me fucked up at. As long as that motherfucker know where they fucked up so that they can be better for the next person or the next situation, that's all that matters. I'm not tiptoeing around how I feel to make you feel any more comfortable. No, I'm not doing it. So I'm in the season of being like my grandma and being unapologetically myself. So that was a really good episode. I told y'all I had so much to talk about. You didn't believe me. But yeah, I will see y'all this Friday. That was actually a really, really good episode if I'm actually being honest. I'm not gonna lie. That was actually a really good episode. I'm in a good spot and this is a really, really good episode and a really good way to start. So I'm excited. Welcome to season 8. Love you. See you next week. Bye.